Axios deletes a tweet in which Dr. Fauci, the exalted one, peace be upon him, contradicts VP Kamala Harris. This would be impossible. These are the two most wonderful people in the country. How could they possibly be disagreeing? So the left didn't like that Axios was reporting on this, so they delete the tweet. Frankly, Axios is the gold standard of journalism today compared to places like the New York Times or the Washington Post. The New York Times, you'll recall, when covering the Capitol Hill riot, they covered this very sad, the death of Officer Brian Sicknick, and they reported that a Trump supporter bashed Officer Sicknick in the head with a fire extinguisher. Right? This was a key piece of evidence in the narrative that was building up about the Capitol riot, leading into the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. The second impeachment trial of Donald Trump. I know that now I have to specify. So the New York Times, even though we've known that the fire extinguisher story was complete bunk, it wasn't true, no evidence that Officer Sicknick got hit in the head with an extinguisher, they would not retract the story. We've now known this for a long time. They would not retract the story until, conveniently, right after the impeachment trial of Trump. Drats. They didn't get him. There was no way they were going to convict. Unfortunately, Trump gets to live to see another political day. So the New York Times finally admits the story was bogus. They say, quote, update. New information has emerged regarding the death of the Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick that questions the initial cause of his death provided by officials close to the Capitol Police. Okay. But they actually had to rewrite the initial article because what we were told was law enforcement officials initially said Mr. Sicknick was struck with a fire extinguisher, but weeks later, police sources and investigators were at odds over whether he was hit. And medical experts say he didn't die of blunt force trauma, so therefore, this is according to one law enforcement official. So what is it? Is it law enforcement officials or officials close to the Capitol Police? This would seem to matter. It seems like minor details, but when you're talking about the death of this officer during this riot that is being used as the single piece of evidence, this riot, in the impeachment of a former president, that in itself unprecedented, don't you think you should be specific on the details? But no, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Don't you think when you're talking about things, I guess kind of ties in more broadly to what we're talking about today. Global warming, science, the apocalypse coming upon us, right? We've got 12 years or the world is going to end, the left tells us. Some leftists tell us it's going to end even sooner unless we do exactly what they say and give them the power. But they're never really specific. Is the world going to end because it's going to get a lot colder and we're going to have a new ice age like they told us in the 70s? And that's why we have to give them all this new power? Or is the world going to end because the earth is warming and it's going to be really, really hot? And that's why we have to give them all the same powers? Or is the world maybe not exactly warming? Maybe there's sort of a pause going on in the warming. And actually, the polar bears are doing just fine. And actually, the Arctic ice is doing basically just fine. So it's remaining more or less the same as it ever was. But that as well is evidence that the world is going to end. We have to give them all this new power. Don't you think the details matter when you're talking about fundamentally reordering society, constitutional government? Property rights, all these very important facets of our society. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Michael Knowles Show. To check out the full episode, hit the link in the description or download The Michael Knowles Show wherever you listen to podcasts.